I feel like, well, I don't really understand what it means.
Yeah.
That's not the point. The point is,
Right.
what does it mean to me? And so I think that about the film too. I want you to decide what you think any given moment.
Well, congratulations
Thank you.
on your director debut.
Thank you very much.
It took you 20 years, right?
Yeah, but some things you have to wait for.
And the wife gave you a nudge, so I heard.
She did, yeah. My wife, Ev.
How did she influence you to finally pull the trigger?
Well, I was attached to this film for 3 or 4 years to play Swede Lvov, who's the central character. And then it felt like the film was going to disappear. We lost the director from the project, and it looked just like the film would go away. After that length of time, I've been involved in projects where you just let them go. And I just wasn't prepared to let this one go. I wanted to play this part so much. And also I loved the story so much. And it was my wife, Ev, who said to me, at that point, she said, you should do it. Because I'd been talking about directing for 20 years, but you can talk about directing for 40 years if you want. At one point, you've got to do it. And when she suggested it, I thought about it really long and hard, and I realized that she might be right. And here we are, and I'm so glad that I did heed her advice.
Yeah. What was probably the most challenging part for you as a director? Anything caught you by surprise?
I suppose the hardest thing of all is the longevity of it. The fact that you wake up every morning for 18 months going, I'm directing a movie, and it's not really till you get to work that you stop being nervous and you get on with it. But that initial hour of every morning for 16 months is quite, it's like the responsibility of it's pretty heavy.
Let's talk about your character and just diving into that deep emotions of this turmoil between you and your daughter. How did you get to that place?
I spent a lot of time just, investigating the character, exploring her point of view. I relied heavily on the novel. It's, a beautifully written novel. And gives a lot of background for the characters and insight, so it was very inspiring for me.
Your character had a lot of obstacles, just getting into character, I can imagine. She had a lot of anger issues, and then even the speech impediment. Which one was harder for you to kind of dive into?
Maybe the anger, weirdly, just because I think, Mary really challenged me as an actor because she transitions from emotion to emotion very quickly and very kind of violently, and so anytime you're sort of going from 0 to 100 and you're trying to make that transition as natural and real as possible, that can be kind of difficult.
Yeah.
So weirdly, that for me was something that I had to that made me more nervous even than the stutter, just because I did the research I felt like I needed to do with that, and then I just kind of trusted myself and let it sort of happen.
Let's talk about the speech impediment. How do you even practice doing that?
I watched videos, and Ewan and I talked about it, and I practiced it a little bit by myself, just a little bit. But I'm one of those people that until I absolutely have to do something, I can't kind of inspire myself to do it, and it's never as good. So I just kind of... So I've learned that about myself, so I don't put pressure on myself to practice too much, because I just trust that somehow I'll be able to do it, and trust the people around me that if for some reason it isn't working, that they'll help me.
And being a mom yourself, was it difficult to see a relationship like that between a mother and a daughter for you?
It's very sad for Dawn. She loves her daughter very much, and I think it's devastating to her the way that she's completely rejected by her, and she's just taken aback by that encounter with violence, that violent turn. I think it's devastating, and as a parent to try and imagine anything, that kind of suffering befalling any of our children it's unfathomable, really.
I loved your character. She was so strong.
Thank you.
And I feel like she was really strong in a time where might have been difficult, and I feel like times now it's still kind of the same. What is your voice now, would you say, in tough times that we're going through?
My voice is probably the voice that my mother raised me to be, which is somebody who speaks her mind.
Which is always a good thing.
Speaks her mind. Holds strong in my beliefs. I'm not afraid to stand up for what I believe to be right. I think that we should all, I believe that every single person in this world has been given a voice, and I believe sincerely that it is our responsibility to use it. And so that is my hope, my wish, my want for myself.
I want to know the last scene in the movie, if you were to come up with what Mary was thinking or where she was at, like what place in her life she was at, what goes in your mind in that last scene?
I don't want to blow it for the audience.
Definitely.
But I love very much with the movie that you get to decide. It's your business. It's not really for me to say. And I like that about any, like a painting. You know, I have this thing in a gallery where if ever I feel like, well, I don't really understand what it means. Yeah, that's not the point. The point is, what does it mean to me? And so I think that about the film too. I want you to decide what you think any given moment. And I love that about Philip Roth's book, that he writes this extraordinary piece of writing where, you know, you could read the book twice and you'll have different opinions about things in both reads.
And your character obviously was a part of a revolution. Today, there's so many things that you could be a part of. There's so many things to take a stand for. For you, is there anything that you are taking a stand for, or you're part of a revolution today, would you say?
I don't know if I think there are so many more people who have taken more stands and are a part of more revolutions than I. I think, honestly, I don't want to give myself more credit than I deserve. But, no, I think that Mary was a part of a generation that was learning how to be heard in sort of a changing America, and I think that's happening again. I think that my generation, they're trying to figure out what is the most effective way to be heard, and I think that the biggest maybe battle is like, just because you post something on Instagram doesn't mean that you are actually actively participating and making change, and I think that that's like something that we have to figure out and how to learn, and so I think I'm just a part of trying to figure it out again. You know, the world goes through cycles. So.
Yeah. And speaking of that, there's a couple of things in pop culture going on that are revolutions, not really. It's like a fun side. Okay. So I want to ask you, would you be a part of the revolution or would you not be a part of the revolution?
Okay, cool.
So this whole election thing, nothing specific. Yeah. But are you part of the revolution of the election, or are you like kind of like, let me just stay over here?
Well, what does that mean? Like, will I vote? Like, will I?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the election, nothing specific.
Yeah.
Are you a part of the revolution of the election?
Part of the revolution.
Shailene is protesting the Dakota pipelines.
I know, Dakota Pipeline.
I know.
Like
it's your name, pipelines, you know. Are you part of the revolution or not a part of the revolution?
You know, I have to admit I'm not as educated in that to totally say, but I mean, if it's an environmental issue, I usually go on the side of supporting the environment, and nature. So
Pro-environment.
Okay.
Awesome. I like it. Let's join the revolution, right? Shailene Woodley is protesting for the Dakota pipeline. She got arrested.
Okay.
Are you pro celebrities going to the extremes to taking a stand, even if it is getting arrested?
I'm part of the revolution.
I like it. You like all these revolutions.
Click to the left to check out 9 actors who've done some seriously crazy things for movie roles, or click to the right to find out the movies that need to be rebooted.